Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin as we're heading into the weekend. Few interesting developments on the Bitcoin daily chart I want to talk about. Then we take a look at the smaller time frame. This is obviously the daily. You know that we are currently holding this larger support region. It is defined between 50,670 and 61,768. This is the stable main element on the chart. I always encourage people to look for what is actually stable on a chart. I can tell you the 15-minute chart is not stable, okay, but this here is pretty reliable. This box that has been with us for the last few months and we are still holding it. Yep, we have dipped into it. That's exactly actually what we want. We are in the middle of the support range. We haven't broken it. What we're looking for is essentially a turnaround somewhere in the orange upper support area to start circle wave 5 to the upside. We want to start circle wave 5, which should take us into the region around 85K. But there is at the moment not really any reliable signal that we have actually bottomed here in all of wave 4. So what we're watching for are some signals, like for example indicators, the MACD, the RSI, trend lines, and most importantly, the Elliott Wave structures on the smaller time frame. While it's absolutely possible that this wave 4 bottomed, which is the wave 4 that started in March, I need to see some evidence on the smaller time frame. Yes, you could argue the smaller trend shows some potential, yeah, and we're going to take a look at the 1-hour chart in a minute, but the Elliott Wave structures are not there that would support a rally towards 85K. So it can still develop, and we will talk about what we need to see. However, we already have some bullish signals on the indicators. For example, the MACD has crossed bullish on the daily. So we have a bullish cross from quite a low point, which can be bullish. And the relative strength index has produced this bullish divergence and the breakout of the trend line. I mean, these are bullish signals. They are, however, not confirmations, so I can only show them. I also showed you a few videos ago on the weekly chart the Bollinger Bands, and I highlighted to you that on the Bollinger Bands on the weekly, we've had a close below the lower band. Whenever that happens, that could be an indication that it's rather going the other way. I don't want to go into too much detail how the Bollinger Bands work, but essentially you have an average in the middle, and then you have two standard deviations on each side. And when the price leaves the bands, it's like a rubber band. The price usually snaps back in. And we've seen that, and we've already seen a reaction, okay? It's just it's going to be interesting how the weekly candle closes, because this is the weekly chart. I don't use the Bollinger Bands frequently, but all of these indicate we could be in an oversold condition and we have potential of a rebound at least. Also, I shared with you yesterday the Fear and Greed Index, which is currently showing extreme fear. At least it's doing that. It did that yesterday. I haven't actually double checked that. For me, the next interesting signals to watch for are a break of the trend line that could even be a breakout setup. This trend line has 3 touch points. It's much more accurate on the smaller time frame, but 3 touch points could be a interesting trend line. And if we get a break above the trend line, I mean, this has been with us for more than a month. It is quite a relevant trend line. Breaking above it, as I said, could be really an interesting breakout setup. I'm not saying, it will work, but it's worth waiting for interesting setups like these, not like, trying to be in the market all the time, necessarily, trying to trade all the time, but waiting for those quality setups. I mean, if you're not trading with Elliott Wave, you could just trade the trend line here. But again, trend lines often, produce fake outs, but, this has 3 to 4 touch points, so it's kind of a relevant one. And then looking at the smaller time frame, this is the 30-minute chart. You can see here the decline from that 7th of June high. You can say, or you could say that this is a full wave count. Absolutely. It definitely still keeps the door open for higher prices. But, I don't think there's a better way of formulating it. I'm very open to the idea that we have bottomed. Very open to the idea of a 5-wave move that could develop here. At the moment, the price action looks a little bit like the yellow wave count. Obviously, we see some short-term strength today. So it's going to be interesting. I think the way it looks right now, it looks a little bit more as if Bitcoin wants to invalidate the yellow microstructure here and move towards the trend line and maybe even follow the white count for a little longer. But I can only confirm that we've really bottomed in the larger 4th wave once we have completed the white wave count. And for that, I need to see those 5 waves completed. That means I need to see the C wave of the 3rd wave completed, which should take us above 61,500. And then I need to see another higher low and a higher high in 5 waves. At the moment, as we are here heading into the, well, it's not heading into the weekend, we're already in the weekend. It looks a bit as if it wants to invalidate this 1-2 setup that we've looked at yesterday in the yellow wave count, because the yellow wave count is short-term bearish. Okay, with every Elliott Wave analysis, and that's the advantage of Elliott Wave, you get invalidation points. So there is a chance that we get one more low. It's a pretty unreliable structure. Essentially, we're just moving in a range, right? In this scenario here, in the yellow count, we could have topped in wave B on Thursday at 59,580. And then this here is a 1-2 setup to the downside, but I think we're going to invalidate it. So I'd rather already say we are working on a larger wave 2 at least, which will keep the door open for the white count, which is that more bullish structure. So if we're working on a larger yellow count or on the larger wave 2, then this is an ABC structure. But as I said yesterday, these microstructures are less predictive. There is a bearish setup, but Bitcoin needs to hold below resistance, basically below 59K, to keep that a, let's say, relevant scenario. Any break above 59,000, above resistance basically, will likely either extend the B wave and will also at the same time keep the door open for the white count. But the white count, again, you know, it needs to fill in all 5 waves to call it, let's say, somehow relevant, because these diagonals often break along the way. I also don't want to get anybody caught in a bull trap. So the yellow count then basically needs to break down. In yesterday's update on Discord, I highlighted we could have formed the 1-2 setup to the downside, but it takes a break below the red line to really confirm it. And that would be a break below 56,590. For now, it seems like that at least we're working on a larger wave 2. But if we break above micro resistance, yeah, we're likely working on the 3rd wave here in white, and then could form another 4-5 pattern to complete the larger 3rd wave. And then we need another 4-5. So what I'm really watching for is a more reliable setup here, maybe a breakout setup, is this trend line. I find that very interesting. It's not related to Elliott Wave, but it is something that could change the structure on the chart. Yeah. Until then, we are caught in a range, and the next resistances are 59,700 and then 60,700. That's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.